Something different for your feeds today. My name is Reverend Geoff. I'm here to talk to you about Black History Month. I'm joined by three wonderful gentlemen, Pedro, Deandre and Sorba. And let me tell you something, they have a lot to say, and they say it in a way which certainly can be challenging, uplifting, but above all, extremely hopeful. Gentlemen, welcome. We're here at Stoke City, iconic stadium, the Bet365, and we're going to be speaking about what it is to be who you are, what has made you, what has shaped you. And my hope is that our conversation is able to take us places which we may not have necessarily gone before. What I do ask is that all of you speak with a level of honesty, that we respect each other as we talk, listen to what everyone is saying, in order that what we bring together will be a beautiful mix of our histories and equally maybe asking questions about the future. My name is Rev Geoff. I work as a reverend locally here in Stoke-on-Trent. I've done so for 13 years. I was born in East London, not too far from the old West Ham football ground. My mother was from Jamaica and my father is from Nigeria. They both met in the 60s in Brixton, and the result of that coupling is 3 children, me being the middle one. So I'm going to ask you questions of a similar ilk, but I do not want to be here dominating the conversation, but I want to be someone who facilitates it, because it's your stories that are important, not just to those who are listening and seeing, but equally to those who may hear it further along down the line. So I'll start with yourself, Pedro, just to tell me your name, where you grew up, and another question would be one sound or song that might remind you of your childhood or your home.
Yeah, so my name's Pedro, 17. I grew up in Birmingham, neutrals, but yeah, one sound and one song that reminds me, probably a sound that probably see my mum's voice. Like sometimes I have it in my head, just some words that she used to say, just like, oh, like, I'm proud of you, or like, why, like, know why you do this, who you doing it for, just like in repetition. So that way, whenever I step out on the pitch, like, I know this is why I'm doing it and like, who I'm doing it for.
Excellent, thank you. Sorba.
Hi, my name is Sorba Thomas. I'm 26. I come from a half Welsh, half Sierra Leone background. Grew up like yourself from East London, not far from the old West Ham ground as well. But no, man, I'm proud of where I'm from, man. And I'd probably say a song that probably reminds me of home. I probably wouldn't even say much East London, but I think whenever I think of the song, I think of London as a Gigs Talking Artist. It just reminds me of home. Whenever I hear that song, it just reminds me of, a 12-year-old me thinking I was some sort of gangster, listening to that song, man. It just reminds me. It's amazing, man.
Brilliant. Deandre.
Hi, my name is Deandre Witter, 17 years old, and I'm born and raised in South London. Born and raised in South London, I've lived all around South London, so I feel like that's where a lot of my character has come from, like being very prideful of my area and things like that. And I would say I've come from a Jamaican background, a lot of gospel music, so I feel like the sound that I would probably say that's really like there's probably the gospel music on the Sunday mornings that I hear, even to this day. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Starting with you and taking that picture of what you carry, how does it help you? Pedro's spoken about his mum's voice as he steps out onto the pitch. But when you tap back into that past, when you tap back into that heritage, how does it drive you now in what is, as I suspect all of you know much better than most of us who stand on the sidelines, this competitive sport? How does it help you, those sounds?
I feel like football comes with a lot of rejection, a lot of character building, a lot of different, you'll go through a lot of different situations, and I feel like having God and my mum being as faithful as she is, and like having a family going through like growing up in church and things like that on Sundays and missing football to go to church and things like that. So I feel like I always just got to be humble and just know where I've come from, because before I was even playing football, I was always in church on a Sunday morning. So I feel like that's just really gave me the power, the strength and determination to really bring through my performances on the pitch and off the pitch.
So that's a real thread in your experience. Pedro, back to yourself. Again, referring to your mother's voice, and then we'll get a bit more onto the heritage that we all hold in different ways. For you, Deandre's mentioned about football is a place where rejection hangs over you maybe nearly every week. How do you cope with that? How do you deal with that?
I agree with him. I think football's also a game of opinions. Some people like you, some people don't. But ultimately, if you know that you're good enough and you know you've got family who think you're good enough, that's all you really need and that's all that matters. So I feel like, yeah, other people might have an opinion of you, but the only opinion that matters is yourself. So how you carry yourself, how you could tell me now that I'm not good, but I think to myself, I'm the best here. I'm going to be the best. I want to be the best. So I feel like no matter how much someone says what you are, how good you are, how good you're not, you shouldn't really listen to it. You should just focus on what you think and what your family think and people that are close around you.
Is something that you would echo yourself?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like the best belief is self-belief. You know, like you said, football, when you get older, you're going to learn it as well. The opinions goes a long way. And for me, one thing someone said to me before is never fall out of people to get to the top, because you're going to need them when you go back down. And that's something that kind of stuck with me, you know. And look, I had to go through it myself, you know, very recently, where people would have heard stuff about me and not so good things, and it's a struggle, you know. And sometimes you got to kind of leave to kind of, for me, I kind of left the country to kind of go find myself and find the love for the game again, kind of show people that's not me. It's just opinions on, you know what I mean? It's just opinions of people who you might just personality clashes and stuff like that, really. And for me, it's like you said, like I said, that the best belief is self-belief, and if you have that in yourself, you can go a long way.
So for you, as you said, you left the country, you had to sort of take a step back, a descent in other words. What did you take with you? I mean, you said you had to find your love of the game again. Did you hate it for a little while?
It was just one of them ones, you know, when I was young, and it was kind of the first time I felt rejection when I was 16 years old, and that feeling, I didn't really deal with it well, you know. And, you know, when you're a kid and you're basically being told you're kind of not good enough at the moment to go to the next level, and so kind of stopped playing, wanted to stop playing. The love was still there, but it wasn't as strong to continue to play, and kind of went down the route of kind of an educational side. And, you know, Jamaican parents, African parents, you know, you got the education comes first. Don't matter how good you are at football, the education's got to come first, you know what I mean? And, well, you might could all speak on that as well, but I kind of went down that road, but as I'm going down that road, kind of the love for the game kind of came back, you know, and then went through that route of kind of slowly starting to love the game again and starting to play with a smile on my face, and then now going back to my old point where I had to leave the country, it was kind of, I felt that again, and it was the first time in a while since I felt that again of rejection, not feeling I'm good enough for some people, and I'm not flipping the right person in the right situation at times, and it was hard. And kind of when you constantly getting some sort of rejection, and the love kind of goes away. But like you said, like a lot of us can say about what football's done for each of us, you know, and sometimes the love may think it's gone, but it's really not gone. It's still there. You just got to find it.
Got to find it. So it's like a rediscovery. Deandre, you talked about missing football to go to church. When you're standing there and everyone's singing about how great God is, are you thinking that someone else might be taking your position in the team? How did you deal with that, with the cultural expectations as much as your own sporting hope?
I feel like sometimes it just came with being patient in a sense, because sometimes my mum would try to be transparent with me, and she says, even though you want to go play football and things like that, there's a lot more important things than football, and in a sense, like putting God first and things like that, because I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for God. So all them times I was missing training, or I was missing games on a Sunday or things like that, it's all bring me here. So can't really say that I was there not really happy to be there in a sense. Of course, as a child, I would have been quite like childish to the thing, like, oh, mom, like, why are you not letting me go? But as I've got older and I've really started to tap in with faith, I feel like that's something that I've really honed in on as I'm growing up.
And I know, certainly for myself, having been brought up with Nigerian and Jamaican parents, as you've said, all three of you've mentioned education being important, and equally then religion. Sometimes they would have swapped places in terms of what was maybe put forward. But again, back to yourself, Deandre, as you've navigated the choppy waters that football can be, has faith, and I'm maybe not trying to give you an answer, but maybe lead you down a particular path, but please do reject it if necessary. Has faith given you the ability to recognise your own ability can cut through and come through?
Yeah, 100%, because I feel like in situations where I've been in, like getting rejected by clubs, and feel like especially when I was doing my GCSEs, getting told I wasn't getting a scholar, so I was during my GCSEs, I was going to different clubs, I was missing school and things like that, and I still managed to come out with somewhat successful grades and come get a club at the end of it, and all of those like trials and tribulations have really just helped me navigate it so far. So,
Pedro, back to yourself. Have you had similar experiences? I mean, you're 17 and you're the same age.
Yeah.
Navigating up to this point, one thing you said earlier is about how good you believed yourself to be. Has that been a cut through to get you to here?
Yeah, but like mine's different to his. So I got rejected at a young age. So obviously I was at Villa, and was there. Normally trials last like 6 to 8 weeks, but I was there for like most of the season. Then got told they're not gonna sign me.
How did that feel, if you don't mind me asking?
I'll be honest, I didn't really think, you don't really think much of it because you're that young, so didn't really think much of it. And then went to West Brom, they just don't think they like me, so I left. And then obviously came to Stoke, signed here December 23rd, 2016, and been here the whole time. On the 14s, got offered my early scholar, so like, just from that, it was just like a proud moment. Like you can go through so many rejections in life, but it's like every rejection you're gonna have somewhat sort of success. So it's like you should never put yourself down going through rejection. Like something will happen which will benefit you in the long run. You just have to be patient. Even though I haven't experienced what Deandre experienced, but like I can get a feeling of what it's like and like how it can better me.
Taking that word patience, which both of you have mentioned, Sorba, is that something you would attest to, going away, coming back, the patience to have the perseverance to get through?
Yeah, 100%. You know, we've all been through some sort of rejection in our lives, you know what I mean? And it's about how you bounce back. Kind of, you know, when you're from the areas we're from, you know, it's not the easiest ways of life, but, you know, you got to fight through, you got to be the difference maker in wherever you are, whether that's off the pitch, on the pitch. You got to be the one that kind of stands out and is different, and that's what we are, you know, as people. And patience is massive. I think it's a word that kind of gets thrown about a lot, but the meaning behind it, I don't think gets spoken about, you know, because anyone can say, look, just be patient, your time will come, you know. It just gets thrown around, and it's something that it's very important for young boys coming up in the game. You know, you're going to join a first team environments there's going to be so much opinions on you. There's going to be so much, you're going to have to do more than what the next person does. You're going to have to do more than anyone. And the word patience you're going to hear every single day, every single minute of every day of the week. And it's about, like I said, listen as well. But then it's hard at times, you know, when you're not playing and egos come to it, and you got to kind of fight them egos to not let them kind of take over your body. And then that's when you start getting bad opinions on yourselves. And that was me, you know, when I was around you guys' age, that was me. I was someone who thought I knew everything. You know, it was my way or the highway. And it's one of them ones, as you get older, you will learn to kind of play the game. You know, kind of, yes sir, no sir. Yep, no worries. Yep, I'll go pick the ball bags up. You got to do what you got to do at the end of the day to succeed. Because you look at all the best players in the world, they do what they got to do to succeed. You know, you guys are young. You guys hear the stories of Ronaldo being early for training. He knew that was his way to succeed. He wanted to be the best. But you can talk to say you'll be the best, but you got to work to be the best. And this is what we work towards, and that comes from patience. You know, when your time comes, you just got to take it. Because at the end of the day, you might just get one chance. And that's where you got to make it worthwhile. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you. Back to yourself, Deandre. Jamaican parents, household full of gospel. Maybe a bit of a lighter subject we'll step on before we go to heavier stuff. What was the food like?
It was wonderful. Wonderful. No complaints.
What was your favourite meal, and who was the cook in your house?
My mum.
Your mum.
She's still the cook of the house. But probably rice and peas and oxtail. Probably one of my favourite ones. Yeah.
Better than jollof?
I don't mind it.
You don't mind the jollof?
I don't mind it.
Pedro, yourself?
Rice and beans, innit?
Yeah.
Like, in Angolan we call it madesu, but like just rice and beans really. Like no food is better than home food. So, anytime you go home, literally, your mom says what you want, you just get home food really. Your heritage. So.
And for you, Sorba?
You get a mixture in my household. Man. You know what I mean? You might go from fish fingers and chips to jollof rice and fondue, you know what I mean? But it's top, man. You can't beat the Monty and the Pops' food, man. It's, you know what I mean? Even if you go to like places like Enish and stuff like that, man, you just can't get it better than when your mum and Pops make it, man.
Brilliant. I love the way you said you get that contrast, the fish fingers to jollof. What was it like for you growing up? East London, you've got Welsh mum, Sierra Leone father. How did you, as someone with dual heritage, navigate?
Oh, do you know what it is? It's one of them ones where, you know, when people ask what's my background, I tell them my background, they like go into disbelief, like as if, oof, I've never heard that before. You know what I mean? But man, it's beautiful, man. Obviously, I was privileged enough to go when I was 12 years old to Sierra Leone, you know, to see the fatherland. But it was an experience that kind of changed my life, you know. As a young kid, getting whatever you want, kind of thing. When you're young, you want a pair of shoes, you go get it. Your parents work hard, you know. And like I said to you off air, that, you know, my dad used to work Monday to Sunday, all day, all night, just for us to have them meals on the table, to be able to go on holidays and stuff like that. And, you know, when you're able to go back to where your family's from and you see the way they live out there, you know, certain parts, 'cause there's nice parts wherever you go, but when you see the kind of nitty gritty parts and you kind of feel more privileged where you come from, you know. And I just remember once we had like a little shipment that we had come over when we was there, and it was all like biscuits and bread, and, you know, you pass it out into the community and you see how grateful they are just to get, you know, some clothes and some, you know what I mean, some jammy Dodgers and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you see how much they love it and appreciate it. And sometimes I feel like sometimes we don't do enough, you know. But I've always recommend, you know, if you've not been home, your real home where your mum and dad are from, you know, I definitely recommend it, because it could be an experience that will change your life.
So on one hand, you had West Africa to get to, and equally then North Wales maybe as well.
But it's just crazy, man, because it's like, then you go see, you know, I go to go see my mum's side, and, you know what I mean, it's a different living environments and stuff, but it's still in my eyes, it's still beautiful, you know. And even when I go back now for national team, and it just always feels like home, you know, when you cross the bridge and you see Welcome to Wales, like, it's just, you know, you're home kind of thing. And it's amazing, man. It's one of them ones where, like, you just appreciate life, you know, because there's different sides of the map where I'm from, and different living environments, different, but then you see how happy they are, and yeah, it's just a blessing, man.
We'll come back to the national team soon, but Deandre, Have you had the chance of going to Jamaica yourself?
Yeah, I've been, I think once, I've been twice actually. Once when I was quite young, like 6, and then one when I was 12. So going back was quite like surreal to me to just see how my mum lived and all of the stories that she's told me about how she didn't always have like school shoes and things like that, and I'm breaking my school shoes on the first 2 weeks of school, and how she had to walk bare feet, and all of the stories that she's told me over the years of me growing up in London. And then me being able to be there and like physically see the roads she's walked on and like how her school and all of that was just quite a wonderful experience and like something nice to share with my mum at the time.
That's good, and we'll come back to that again. And as I said, Sorba and the national team. Pedro, yourself, have you had a chance to go to Angola?
I'm different. I haven't been before, but like I always think it's always so important for you to go back. Like, see, when I was younger, you always used to get in trouble. But then obviously, say like if you want something, you don't get it, your parents are like, oh, you want this, but people in Africa, they haven't got this. And it's like, when you're younger, let's just say I went to Angola when I was younger, I'd realise, oh, like people in Angola are actually struggling to get this whilst I'm practically begging for this and like telling my parents, I want this, but people in Africa can't even get it. So it's like, I want to go, and I think I need to go just to, you know, get a reality check really, and just like see what it's like and what people go through. Because don't get me wrong, there are some nice parts to Africa, but you mainly just see a lot of people struggling, like drinking from dirty water, just like, so it's like, it's so important you go back to, you know, Africa really.
I'm glad you mentioned the country Angola, because one of the things that is maybe misrepresented is that Africa is this contiguous block, but we have in the north Egypt and Libya, the Arab nations, Morocco, right down to South Africa. To the east you've got Kenya and Ethiopia, and to the west Sierra Leone, and in the central parts Angola and other places. So just a few questions, or maybe a question about Angola. What are the main languages in Angola?
So you got Portuguese, got Lingala, which is Congolese. I might be wrong. I don't know if there's French or not, but I only know Portuguese and Lingala so far.
Do you speak Portuguese yourself?
A bit, but not too much. Like, you know, when people try to speak it to me, I try like hold the conversation and try like. Sometimes I make it up. I'm just like, yeah, but nah. But Lingala I can stand fluently. But yeah.
Oh really? So you can understand the mother tongue fluently?
Yeah, I can speak it as well. Yeah.
What's that like? And the reason I say that is maybe from my own experience. Very briefly, my father is Nigerian. He speaks Igbo. My mum was from Jamaica, as I said, and she spoke English. And when my dad would be speaking to his friends from, as he called it, home, he'd be speaking Igbo. And part of it I would never know, apart from, you know, please, thank you, and where's the money? That's the only three phrases I know. I suppose because I was kept on asking him for it. When you're speaking in your mother tongue, what's that like? And equally, what language do you think in?
I try to listen to the conversation that my parents are having with each other, because sometimes like they don't want to speak in English because like they don't really want you to understand what they're saying, so they speak the other language. So obviously, normally I just listen to what they're saying in Lingala and like interpret it from English. But like I would say I think it's like normally whenever my family members come over, I don't speak English to them just because like, you know, they're all mostly African. It's like, why take that away from them since they've been speaking it for so long? So I just speak it in Lingala to them.
It's interesting you say you've never been there, but ironically, the way you speak, who you are, and how you're able to relate to your relatives actually says more about you being there than anything else physically. Sorba, you play for the Welsh national team, albeit born, like myself, in East London and England. And as we talk about nationality, and one of the things that I think is coming through this conversation is that although we have the heritage called black, the difference in who we are is quite prevalent just from the four of us sitting here. Born in, as you said, Barking, what made you decide to play for Wales? I mean, I presume equally you could have played for Sierra Leone.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, I've had had conversation with Wales, Sierra Leone, but I think, you know, growing up, I spent a lot of my childhood in Wales, you know, in Newport and Porthcawl. So it was kind of, you could say that I grew up-ish around there. You know, grew up a lot of my childhood around there, and you know, it just feels at home every time I go there. And it was just something that when I was a kid, I kind of, the more and more I was around my Welsh family and around the country and stuff like that, it was kind of, I'm going to play for you guys one day. And I think from young, I think I kind of made my mind up, if I ever make it into the pro game, I'm going to go play for Wales. And, you know, to get the first call up, probably a year on, you know, from playing part-time to then going to the pro game, and then a year on from that, getting my first Wales call up, it was a surreal moment, you know, to be able to tell my mum that I've got the call and I'm gonna go play for Wales. It was just amazing, you know. And then you go to camp, and then you know, I was playing FIFA not long ago with some of these boys, and now they're next door to me in the hotel and stuff like that, and it's just a crazy moment. And now it's about just setting my own legacy and kind of stumping my authority, kind of, look, I'm not fully Welsh, but I am Welsh, you know, and I'm here to bring my type of swag, my type of, you know, bring the kind of the African kind of skill and flair and stuff like that to you guys, you know, just something different, you know. But I'll never forget wherever I've come from, you know what I mean? Like, I always remember where's home. But at the same time, like, it's hard, you know, you can't play for two nations, you know. If you could, I can make both of them happy, do you know what I mean? But someone has to get sacrificed, and unfortunately, I chose the motherland.
And that's fair. That's fair. Yourself, Deandre, say for example you get to the stage at Sorba's at, you got Thomas Tuchel ringing you up, and Steve McLaren's on the other line. Who do you answer?
I feel like as from a young age, me and my mum have had this conversation like plenty of times. Like, she's joked around with me and like, would you not go play for Jamaica? Or, like, and my first response would have been like, when I was younger, because like just being a kid, and I'm watching Wayne Rooney and England on TV, that was all I ever really knew. But as I've grown up, I felt like it would make my mum prouder for me to go play for where she's from. And now that I've been there, I've got to see the culture, I understand the culture, I enjoy the culture. I feel like that would bring like a really proud moment, as Silver said, like something that he can really stamp his authority on and really show to his parents that, yeah, he wasn't born there, but yet he still has that somewhat inside of him.
The echo of it there. And Pedro, we've heard from Deandre having that tussle with his mum, whether he'll pick up the phone to Thomas Tuchel or Steve McLaren, but it sounds like more Steve McLaren will be able to press upon him that kind of imposition. And Sorba talking about going back to the motherland and playing for Wales. Yourself, England or Angola?
I haven't been to Angola before, and I just feel like I've lived in England throughout my whole life, and it's like England's all I know, so it's like I'm gonna have to choose them. But obviously I would never close any doors about playing with your home country, so even if, you know, Angola gave me the call up, I would still want to play for them, because I feel like just playing for your home country, your parents' home country, is like a really proud moment for you, but also for them as well. And I feel like it makes your family proud, but also other people around, you know, the country, just knowing your name, or that's a player I fell in love with, Pedro. So it's like another proud moment also, even if you play for England, like your parents will be as proud, but I feel like they'll be more proud of you playing for their home country.
One of the things that has been prevalent right throughout the conversation here and said by all three of you is how important family has been to you. So there you are, you're 17 years old, you are born in this country, you're a young black man. How did you negotiate being that person with the heritage you have at home, but also the culture you had once you stepped beyond the front door. How was it for you?
I feel like at the start it was quite challenging because like I always like whenever people used to ask me where I'm from, and I used to shy away from where I was from.
Why was that?
I guess I didn't really want to accept where I was from. So I used to always say, nah, I'm English, I'm from England. But then as I grew older, I'm now proud to say I'm fully proud to be Angolan. And I feel like you have to embrace where you're from, what your background is. Even, yeah, it may not be as pretty as other people's backgrounds, but it's always good to embrace it and like, you know, let everyone know, yeah, this is where you're from, but how are you gonna, you know, make a difference? How are you gonna help out? So I've always thought in my mind, in the future, I wanna go over there and like, you know, do something for the community. Maybe not now, but obviously who's to say I can't do it now, but it's always been something in my mind where I'm like, I wanna help my home country and like give them what they deserve and what they need. Yeah, it might not be a lot, but at least I can say, yeah, I've given them something, I've done something for the country, so.
Just want to press on something you said, which I think was beautifully honest, very powerful and quite revealing. You said before you wouldn't want to say where you're from, you say you're English. And that is part of your heritage insofar as you've been born here and grew up here. But equally, you used the word, not a place as pretty. So when did it change for you? Was it a gradual change? Or was there a sudden moment where you thought, well, hang on a minute, enough is enough. I want to fully embrace that which I am.
I'll be honest, I feel like it's from stories from my parents, like just saying this is going on in Angola, this is what people are going through, looking at videos, because my dad goes back to Angola a lot. Just looking at videos, what he's trying to do for the country. But yeah, that's when I was just like, this is my home country. Like, this is my heritage. So no matter what anyone thinks, this is my country at the end of the day and no one can take that away from me. So that's what really changed my thought process and like the way I thought about myself as well.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you. Sorba, same question effectively. Growing up in East London, I may have had similar experiences to you, albeit say 10 or 20 years prior to your birth. You're navigating the dual heritage, but when people see you come down the road, they're not going to ask for your Welsh passport, for want of a better phrase. How did you navigate growing up? And equally, you know, similar sort of question to Pedro. Where did you plant your flag when asked those pertinent questions?
Do you know what, if I'm going to be so honest, is I was someone that when I was growing up, I never used to say I was English, you know, and probably even till this day, I never say I'm English. You know, when someone says where you're from, I say I'm half Welsh and I'm half Sierra Leone, you know, because for me, yes, I was born here, but for me, I'm from where my mum and dad are from. You know, I rep where my mum and dad are from, you know, and I rep it to the day I died, you know what I mean? But, you know, someone like myself, you know, who's got a mixed background, you know, you're always sometimes seen as different, you know, like, oh, what side you're going to choose, you know, like these type of, you know, immature comments, you know, like, but it's true, like these are the things you hear kind of thing, and it's one of them ones, you know, like, oh, like I'm not one or the other, you know, I'm the same as you, like we're peoples, you know what I mean, we're human beings, like, but everything we do is different, you know, it's like, especially from the African side, you know, everything we do is different, the way we dress is different, you know, our music's different, everything's different, and I think small-minded people, don't like change, you know, and you see what music and you see the top artists now, you know, the Drakes, you know, like these guys, you know, these are black men, you know, the change in the music game. Then you got like actors, you got Idris Elba, you got these guys, you know, like at one point I'm sure Idris Elba was supposed to be like the next James Bond. Do you know what I mean? This is something that we probably never thought we'd ever see, you know, and it just shows the world's changing, and, you know, but change is good, you know, and the thing with us, like I said before, like there's no different, there's no black and white, you know, we're peoples, you know, we're human beings, and, you know, there shouldn't be a difference. There shouldn't be your side or that side, you know, it's just one side, and we're all fighting for the same goal at the end of the day.
Thank you. Deandre, your turn. Growing up South London, and for those of us who do know London, the size of it means that different areas have, in some respects, mini cultures within them, you know, from east to west to north, and so on. But growing up South London, you've got the Jamaican parents. How did you navigate, dare I say this phrase, being black?
I feel like it comes with a lot of different challenges and things like that. But I feel like being Jamaican and that persona and that aura it comes with, and the stigmas and also the stereotypes it comes with, is something that's really helped me become who I am. I feel like as a person, I've also always been seen as someone who's quite confident and quite prideful in who I am, unless it doesn't always come out in the most positive ways and in senses. But as I've grown up, I feel like having that power behind my name and my family and things like that has really helped me to grow on and push on in life.
Just to press on something you said, and maybe I've misquoted you here, so do forgive me, the stereotypes and the stigma shaped you. Mm-hmm. Tell me how.
Because I feel like Jamaica comes with a lot of negatives and positives. I feel like as we are very prideful people, sometimes we also come across in the wrong way. So I feel like as a person, I've seen the both sides of the positive and the negative, and I've tried to depict those little stigmas and little things to shape me in the person who I am today. So I feel like, as Silver said, it comes with a lot of different powers and things like that. And growing up in South London, where it's kind of like be eaten by the sharks if you're not quite as prideful as everyone else. And I feel like as growing up in football, school, I feel like that's something that's really helped me show who I am and show my personality.
So the experience has very much shaped your attitude. Sort of leading on from that, has growing up in South London, as you said, dealing with the sharks, then giving you the attitude and the personality as well as the promise to navigate the football world as well?
100%, because I feel like it comes with a lot of patience. In South London, there's a lot of negatives and positives, and I feel like it also comes with being selfish in a sense, because I feel like growing up in South London, I feel like there's many different ways you can go out of making out of that place, and I feel like I went down the football route where I can say a lot of my friends, they went down that route in a sense, but when they realised there wasn't something that was going to work for them, they turned to other things. And I feel like growing up in environments with gangs and things like that, and people going down those routes, people that I was really close with, and me being selfish and me knowing that I would have to somewhat distance myself from other people, and if I really want to make it and do what I've dreamt about all these years, I have to be selfish in a sense. So I feel like that's something that's really helped me in this academy world and in this football world in a sense, but also just being patient, being humble, because I feel like that's just something that just really keeps me grounded, because as Silver said, he was quite hard-headed in a sense, it's his way or the highway. I feel like I was quite like that when I was growing up, like quite young, and I feel like with a lot of being humbled by a lot of situations and being told that you're not good enough, you're not this, you're not that, you're not going to make it, and all those things like that have really shaped me into the person that I am today. And yeah, I'm still growing, I'm still learning, and there's still a lot of things that I do need to work on, but I feel like that's something growing up in South London has really taught me.
Pedro, yourself, I take it, therefore, you may have had similar sort of encounters within football, in terms of having that determination to be who you want to be, despite what other people may have wanted for you. How did you navigate that? As Deandre was maybe arguing, and not saying it's directly similar, but if you saw your friends maybe going down a particular path, were you, similar to Deandre, selfish enough to go, you know what, I still want this?
Yeah, I agree with Deandre. I feel like at a certain point, like, you've got to think about what do you want at the end of the day, because it's your life, it's your story. You write your own story, not other people. So it's like you have to make the decision yourself. From living in Birmingham to moving to Stoke now, I've had to cut off them people who I just know aren't beneficial in me in the long run, but also in my footballing journey. And it's like, yeah, it's not, you don't want to do it, but it's like you have to get where you want to be. And I feel like also, like Sorba said, staying humble, even if it is just like, you know, a youngster picking up the balls, taking them inside, like just staying humble and always training at 100% intensity, because a year goes quick in football. And I feel like you've always got to, every time you step out on the pitch, you've always got to show yourself 100%. Like even Sorba said, when you go out with the first team, you only get one chance to prove yourself, make an impression. So it's like these impressions, you have to make them good. If you really want to have a name or like be in the game for a while, you have to show a level of consistency, but also, even though you have to stay humble, when the opportunities do come, you have to be ready to take them, because you might only get one opportunity.
Talking about opportunities and players that may have inspired you growing up. And again, I think one of the things we're talking about within this conversation is about who we see in others as much as what we might see in ourselves. The colour of our skin does have the ability to, in some respects, define. But what's been really clear, and I repeat, is how wonderful and how colourful, dare I use that phrase, all your stories are. To the young man over here who can speak 2 languages, I can barely speak English, and yet here he is with that gift in a way, that echo of what your parents are. Sorba, that lovely sound of the valleys, but the beat of the African Sierra Leone drum within you. What a beautiful echo. And Deandre, you know, the speed of Usain Bolt in your mind that hopefully goes to your feet with the food to match. And yet you have the South London twang, you're not sure. And we got Sorba with a bit of East London. So there's a lovely sort of cake mix. So, but when you go into Pedro first and to Sorba and then to Deandre, but when you were growing up, did you look, I say this really carefully, did you look at the skill of the player or the colour of the player's skin in terms of the players that inspired you? What came first for you? The
skill. I don't see colour. I see everyone, war as one, no matter what you are. So yeah, like the person I look up to is Ronaldo, but I also look up to my mum. I've got 4 sisters in one house, and it's like she's worked tremendously well. She worked so hard for me, and like she's why I do it and like who I want to do it for as well. And it's like just seeing where she was a few years ago, just, you know, doing everything she can to get me to training, my dad as well, doing everything they can. It's like, now I'm like, yeah, this is my why, this is why I do it, who I want to do it for, and why I'm going to push to be as the best I can be. By me doing that, yeah, it might not come off, but at least I can look back and say, yeah, I've given this 100%, I've done all I can, it just hasn't worked out. My mum's my biggest role model, and like who I look up to, and like why I do it as well.
Why Ronaldo?
Just seeing his journey, because like I feel like for me, it's like he's gone from nothing to something. He's had to work hard to where he is right now, and I feel like all of us have to get where we want to be. We all come from nothing, and we make our name, our own story. So I feel like for me, just seeing Ronaldo's story, I can implement a few of what he's done, like, you know, coming training early, like Sorba said, or, you know, staying out for extras, going to the coaches to look at my clips, what I can do to improve, just that extra 1% to better myself as a person, but also as a footballer. And I feel like football, it betters you, you know, because you're in the game, but I feel like it also betters you as a person as well.
Sorba, who was your player that you looked up to? And again, similar question to Pedro. Was it their skill first or their skin colour that inspired you?
No, it's always going to be the skill, you know. At the end of the day, that's what you're watching, and that's what's making you want to play the game. And for me, growing up, it was Henri, you know, like just the way he used to make a difference every game. And that's something that I like to be when I step on the pitch now. Or when I was younger watching him as well, I wanted to be the one that's on the tip of everyone's tongue when they leave the stadium, and people watching at home, they're always talking, you know, I like to be, as selfish as that is, but that's what I want, you know. So everyone to just be talking about me and being that person who teams think about a bit more. And but at the same time, like you said, speaking about, you know, the importance of, you know, the mumsy and the pops and stuff like that, you know, I grew up, and probably yourselves probably grew up, your dad saying they're probably the best footballer in the world. You know, they could have done this and that, and, you know, then you see them kick a ball for the first time and you realise it was just all lies all these years, you know. But yeah, it's just the importance of, you know, family, and I feel like it's going to be spoken about a lot here, you know, the importance of family, getting to training and stuff like that. And even the little things, you know, when your family come to watch you play and stuff like that, it gives you that extra buzz, that extra 1% that you probably might need when you're going through a tough time and stuff like that. You know, they're always going to be there. And yeah, and going back to, you know, the people you watch, you know, the Henris, you watch the Messis, the Ronaldos, like you said, and, you know, they're all different in their way. You know, they all had their different challenges, but they still made it to the top, and they still became top players despite, you know, any sort of differences that they have, you know. And it's just amazing to see, you know, it's the motivation you actually need, really.
Deandre, same question again. You grow up, you're watching footballers. Is it skill first or skin colour?
It's always been the skill first for me, because I feel like growing up watching, I'll probably have two. I'll probably say Neymar and probably Wayne Rooney, because I feel like being a Man United fan, that was probably the first person I ever seen on the TV, and the things that he did at a young age, and the way he did it, the way he carried himself, his edge, like everything he did it with pride. So we might not have the same background or the same anything at all, but the way he carried himself on the pitch is something that I really just always stuck with me. And Neymar, as Silva said, he brought excitement to the game. As Silva said, he wants to be the top of the top topic at the end of the day. So I feel like watching Neymar all these years, since I'm quite young, I didn't get to watch Ronaldinho when I was younger, but seeing Neymar and the way he just brought excitement to the game, he always lit up the stadium. Every single time he touched the ball, it was always like wow, like what is he going to do next? So I feel like those were the two players that I would say. But as Pedro said, having your mum as number one, and my family, my sisters, all of the people that have been around me and supported me through all this time, like as Silva said, you said that edge when they came to watch you, I was the complete different. I felt like I didn't want my mum to come and watch me at times, because I just felt like I don't want to disappoint her, in a sense that she put all the effort and time in. So imagine if I was having a bad game, or maybe I got nervous when she came, or she used to be like, what, you don't want me to come and watch you play? But I was just so nervous of just making a mistake and not impressing her, and just showing her all the things that I can do, and because of all the things she sacrificed for me. So that's something that, yeah.
To carry on that theme, and again I'll come to Sorba and Pedro, do you feel that when you play and what you do, you carry more than just yourself? What do I mean by that? All of our different heritages, as I've mentioned already, and I repeat that because one of the things I do want to emphasise is the irony of the difference between all of us, but the beauty of the similarities as we sort of talk in chorus. But also sometimes culturally and psychologically, we carry a story with us that needs to be told on the pitch. So do you feel that you're not just playing for you, you're playing for your mum, your dad, your sisters, and all those people who have literally stood behind you and not even been seen? Yeah,
I would say that's 100%. I'd agree with that, because I feel like growing up and just seeing the amount of support, the amount of love, even though going through rejection and maybe not having the greatest of times, I wouldn't necessarily be the most talkative or something like that, especially after a bad game and things like that. So I feel like just having that family, that buzz and around me, always just pushing me, always keeping me away from what I need to peak at from, always giving me the extra word of encouragement, or just really something that I try to bring out with me every single time I step onto the pitch. And it comes with a somewhat of swag or something that I can just always know that when I step onto the pitch that I'll give it my all, because there's always my family and other people in my life that I'm maybe not even here anymore and never get to see me play, but maybe still watching above every single time I step onto the pitch. So that's probably, yeah, I do agree.
Sorba, it's similar?
Yeah, 100%. You know, I feel like us as, you know, black men, there's always, like we said before earlier on about opinions, and we're always going to always feel like we're going to have to do more, you know, than some people. We're going to have to do the extras, you know, to sometimes even be noticed, you know, and at the minute, that's just life. You know, it's something that, you know, we like to think is going to change, and we all like to feel equal and stuff like that, but we're always going to feel like we're going to have to do more. And I think football was massive when it comes to everyone coming together and kind of fighting them differences, you know, because when you're on the pitch, I feel like everyone's seen the same, you know, despite skill, colour, anything, we're still, you know what I mean, we're all part of one team. And I think you see how it could have been, you know, so many decades ago and how it is now. And, you know, you see black and white sitting next to each other in the stands and playing side by side, going to war together and stuff like that. You know, you see how different and what football can do to the world and how important it is. And it's a beautiful thing to see, you know, because I think, not even probably just football, but sport in general, I think it brings people together, it brings teams together, it brings, you know, like no one really sees colour, they just see a human being, and that's what we want at the end of the day.
And Pedro, for you, I mean, as I said, you born here, Angolan parents. Do you feel you carry their story as well onto the pitch?
I feel like in life in general, whatever you do in the shape of your family. Yeah, maybe I might not be the brightest of people, but like I know that what I'll do it with 100%, because I know my parents back in the day, they done everything 100%. Everything you do in terms of, you know, how you prepare for a game, how you train, how you play, it's all in preparation for what's to come. As I said, football's a game of opinion, so it's like no matter what anyone thinks of you, whatever you think to yourself and think how good you are, that's what you should carry within yourself. And I feel like if you know you're good enough and your parents know you're good enough, that's all you need to know. And I feel like that's the extra boost, even in games. Like my mum will call me a day before a game and just be like, just be yourself, no matter what, I'm proud of you. And that's like the extra boost for me to like, yeah, no matter what I do, as long as I give 100%, she's always gonna be proud of me. And I feel like that's what strives me to, you know, do well and hopefully make a name for myself.
As we journey through what has been a beautifully rich tapestry of conversation, I think the threads that all of you have been able to bring together has been quite illuminating, certainly for me, and I hope for those who are able or have the privilege to hear this conversation, either in full or in part. And I'll start with you, Sorba, and then Deandre, and then we'll move to Pedro. Black History Month, when you hear that, how does that make you feel? What do you think?
No, like you said a bit off air, like we wish it was something that weren't here, but it's here, and you just got to kind of, it just lets you kind of go back where it came from, and you know where we all came from. Do you know what I mean? And the sacrifices that were there, you know, so many decades ago, and kind of, do we say that, are we still fighting that same fight, you know, now? You know what I mean? And it's a fight that should have been done decades ago, and sometimes in football, you know, still fighting them fights, and it's something that I like to think it will go away one day. Will it go away? Who knows? But us, and I think football is massive in it, sport is massive in it, but it could be also kind of, you look at stuff like social media, can kind of, it's probably the main cause that kind of brings it up and kind of gives it its platform, and is something that can probably nip it in the bud and kind of kill it. But I've said my opinions many times about what social media can do and the power that social media have, that they can stop the abuse that people get online, and, you know, sportsmen, sportswomen, you know, and probably not even, probably just like normal 9-to-5 men as well, you know, that get these type of abuse. But like I said to you at the beginning, it's all small-minded people. It feels like they may feel like it's the only way they can get to us, you know. And black is beautiful, man, and that's what we grew up knowing. You know, black is beautiful. You know, our parents, they tell us that, and it's something that us as young people, and yes, I said I'm young, I'm still young, yes, that we, you know, we give to the next generation, and we let them be proud to be black, you know. And black wasn't always bad, you know. We're not always bad. We're not always, you know, like, there's top athletes and musicians and actors that, you know, are some of the best in the game that are black. And it's something that I feel like, as well as we wish it wasn't here, but we have to celebrate it as well, you know, because you look at some of the cultural stuff, even in England, you know, started with black people, Asian people, and do you know what I mean? It all started with us, and it's one of them ones where we don't see a difference, you know, and I don't think people should look at us as them or they, you know. Like I said before, we're one team and we should be one team. It should never be anything other than that.
Thank you. Deandre, your opinion on Black History Month?
I feel like it's really important that from a young age I've been always taught about it. It's been thrown at me from quite a young age, and just being able to see what past generations and things were able to achieve, and how creative they were, and the strength and power it comes in, and how that we all should be seen as one in a sense. But I feel like it's not amazing to know that we have it, like, in a sense. So, but as you said, it's quite difficult because we wouldn't necessarily want to have it as it to be a celebration. I feel like it should just be embedded in culture and things like that. But there's a lot of wonderful people, and everyone, I feel like everyone could be considered as one, as a thing. So I feel like it's wonderful, and being taught about it from a young age has really shaped me, shaped the world. And I feel like, as Silver said, he's made great points about how social media and things like that and the stigmas behind it. And I feel like we should all be one on and off the pitch.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's really all I got to say about it.
Thank you. Pedro, Black History Month, your thoughts, opinions?
I feel like there's a lot of key role models that's, you know, from past generations. Like, you got Rosa Parks. Her story mainly is, you know, a big story. But even you got like musicians like Dave in his lyric, Black is beautiful, Black is excellent. Stormzy in his song Crown. Like, all these musicians, they're not afraid to put in their music about black people and about what they have to go through and what they've been through. And it's like, it's such a good thing. Even though he's a musician, yeah, everyone wants, you know, the upbeat music, but like, I feel like just for them putting it out there in their music, I feel like that makes you realize, yeah, black is beautiful. Like, no matter what anyone says, like I said before, I don't see colour. I see all of us as one. So I feel like it's really important that we know about the past and know about what's happened in the past, because I feel like it also shapes us as people and how we talk to other people and how we interact with other people.
Sort of coming near to the sort of final question, really. Music, name 2 or 3 artists that you look up to and like sort of give you that inspiration, the kind of headphones on the coach.
On the coach, Drake, bit of Stormzy, bit of Afro beats, but then obviously on the game day I like to relax, so probably a bit more of Drake, Afro beats, but like
Drake's relaxing.
to me it is. You know what it is? To me it is. So I think he's relaxing. I don't think he's outgoing too much. I feel like it's important you have like a calm headspace before, like
his old school tunes and that.
Yeah, like a calm headspace for the game. I feel like that's really important. Just like, you know, so you stay focused, you know what to do. So yeah, I would say, yeah, Drake and a bit of Afro beats as well.
Deandre,
I think
who's your tunes in the headphones?
probably Skepta, Dave, and probably along the lines of the grime scene of the UK, and maybe going back to my Jamaican culture, bit of dancehall, something to get me up going, a bit of both. So I feel like I also, like as Pedro said, I also like to calm myself down before games, but also want to get myself in that mood to know that I'm going to go give everything that I can and everything and more on the pitch. So I feel like an upbeat or something to really get me going, so something like that.
Sorba?
So mine's just all over the place at the minute, to be honest. You know, you grow up with your pops, you know, not even making you, but just putting on, you know, some P Square and Deandre and, you know, WizKid, and then you got the mum side with, you know, the house, the garage, the Craig Davids, you know what I mean? But I think for me, growing up, kind of finding my own sound, you know, it's more like Rod Wave, you know, if I want to kind of be in a bit of a chilled late night drives kind of thing. I like a bit of Chris Brown, you know, he's got a bit of a mixture of all, and then you got, like I said, I still mess with the Afro beats as well, so like Asake, you know, those are probably the three that I kind of got on repeat, to be fair.
I'm going to have to Google every single one of the artists, maybe not Drake. Gentlemen, I'm kind of lost for words, and for me to say that is quite something. But I'm lost for words because what I have felt from all three of you has been a wonderful and beautiful honesty, and above all, a courage to walk in the face of possible rejection, but equally to recognise through humility how rooted you all are in your families. Your families are like your soil in which you are all planted, and the sun of football warms you, and the garden, dare I say, is England in which you play. And I think you, all three of you, are wonderful plants in that garden. You've also brought to me the reality that all our stories are different, and that albeit our skin colour has that kind of shade and tinge of brown, the stories are multiplexing and multi-layered and a kaleidoscope of experience, because we're all born in different times and different ages to different people who again bring what they bring as well. I think above all though, you three represent what's possible when you are able to not necessarily be selfish. I know it's a word that has been used, but when you have the self-belief, which Sorba's talked about, the courage to distinguish when to let go and when to step in, and the recognition that you are part of a story, but not the story. And I think that has been really, really wonderful to hear. So I want to thank you for your honesty and for your time. I equally want to thank Stoke City for bringing you together and to put you all under this roof, because what they're representing is, as you guys have said more often than not, to see the skill before the skin. And that's what you all have. And I think those who look at all of you from beyond this mortal coil will be very proud, but equally those that cheer you on, whether you want them there or not, will be equally proud as well. So thank you, Pedro, thank you, Sorba, thank you, Deandre, and thank you those for listening. This has been Stoke City, celebrating the players who have the skill beyond the skin. Thank you. Thank you for listening and equally for watching. I hope you enjoyed what has been said, and my desire is that it was challenging as well as eye-opening.